Welcome back into your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Dan Collins alongside Jordan Swick for the nightcap of the doubleheader between the Matu-Su Miners and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. So first, before we begin tonight's contest, we'll give you the starting lineup for the Matu-Su Miners. Leading things off once again in center field is Brooks Stotler. Batting second, the second baseman, Levi Jordan. Batting third and playing right field is going to be Garrison Schwartz. The cleanup hitter and playing for first base will be Jake Scudder. The shortstop, Josh Bissonette, bats fifth. Angelo Armenta, the third baseman, batting sixth for the Miners. Batting seventh is the designated hitter, Scooter Bynum. Batting eighth, the catcher, Anthony Cosgrove. And batting ninth, Madison Nickens. He is playing left field tonight. On the mound for the Glacier Pilots here for Game 2, it is going to be the right-handed pitcher, Connor Lungwitz. Looks like he is finishing up his warm-up tosses, as that would be correct. They're now throwing the ball into the infield and back to Lungwitz. And line on him, this is his fifth game of the season, fourth start. He has a record of 1-0, ERA of 2.08, has allowed 2 walks, and has 22 strikeouts on the season. So here is the first pitch of Game 2 to Brooks Stotler. He shows bunt, and there it is again. Bunts it toward third base, and he is going to be safe. So there we go. Interesting way to lead it off here. I would assume that's going to be ruled a single, but we will wait and see. Official score is still not up yet. As soon as it is, we will definitely let you know. And it will be ruled a hit. That was the third baseman, Arlo, tracking that ball down in the infield, and then tossing it on over to Tanner Sanders over at first base. Sanders was pulled a little off the bag, but it would have been really hard for him to make the play on that. Here is the 0-1. The second baseman, Levi Jordan. Looped in the air. Given a chase was Eichhoff. He'll make the catch for out number 1. Stotler will retreat himself back to first base. That's going to bring up the right fielder, Garrison Schwartz. And we will run down the defense for you from left to right in the outfield. It is Hurd, Kiersey Jr., and Gillette. Around the horn from first to third, it's Sanders, Eichhoff, Watson, and Cordero. The battery of Green and Lungwitz. The Miners took Game 1 of this doubleheader by a score of 5-1. Lungwitz with the delivery catches the plate for strike 1. Garrison Schwartz had 2 stolen bases, a walk, and a single. Also scored twice in the matinee. Swings do that one for strike 2. Connor Higgins pitched in Game 1. Went the distance, 7. It is 2 7 innings apiece here for the doubleheader. Schwartz strikes out swinging for out number 2 of the first inning. But by him going the distance, now you have the bullpen here for the 7-inning contest in Game 2. It is Tyler Wyatt getting the start in the nightcap for the Miners. Going to bring Jake Scudder now up to the plate. There's one man on for the Miners, that being Brooks Stotler, who led this thing off with a bunt single. Lungwitz with the delivery. Inside, ball 1. Scudder having to move out of the way of that one. And it looks like we are going to have, yep, it hit him. Scudder pled his case and is a hit by pitch. So he did move out of the way, but not well enough to avoid that pitch. And he's going to mosey on down to first base. That's going to bring Stowler into second. So a man in scoring position here now for the shortstop, Josh Bissonette. Bissonette doubled in the first game and scored. Also struck out twice and reached on an ear. First pitch to him is a ball. Lungwitz. Look over to second. Now from the set, outside, 2-0. Weren't sure if we were going to get this one in. Had to wait all the way until, I want to say it was roughly an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes before game time when the team took off from Palmer. But here we are in game 2. So we're lucky we could get him in here. At least it looks like we will. Hopefully the rain stays away. Slight drizzles on and off.
And you never really know how to judge the Alaska weather because it had rain throughout the night and like 80-90% chance. And obviously, I'm no math major, but that's pretty big odds right there. So it is kind of surprising to see that we are playing this game 2. But it is drizzling a little bit, but not enough to stop the game.
That 3-1 pitch is popped up, foul territory, but the first baseman Sanders is there and makes the catch. And that's going to retire the side here in the third inning. The Miners strand 2 in the top of the first. We now head to the bottom of the first inning where the Pilots will get their first crack of game 2 here on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Back here for the bottom of the first inning, Pilots coming up to the plate for the first time here in the nightcap, and here is the starting lineup for them. The innings off, it's a shortstop, Kyle Watson. Batting second, it's Deshaun Kersey Jr. Third, Joe Gillette. The cleanup hitter and designated hitter, Tyler Walters. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Tanner Sanders. Sixth, Nate Eichhoff, he's the second baseman. Batting seventh and manning the hot corners, RJ Cordeiro. Eighth, it's the catcher, Tyler Green. And ninth, the left fielder, Dalton Hurd. On the bump for the Miners, who just threw first pitch strike to Kyle Watson, is Tyler Wyatt. And here's the delivery from him, inside 1-1. Wyatt on the season is 2-1 with a 2.45 ERA. This is his fourth game, third start. That pitch, too. He's allowed 13 hits, struck out 13 batters, giving up 4 walks. His last start came against the Chinooks back on June 15th. He went 7 innings in that affair, gave up 1 run and was earned, 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts to pick up the W. Here's the 2-2 from Wyatt. Low, for ball 3. So now full count to Watson. He also picked up a decision against the Chinooks June 27th in 2 innings of relief. Gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts in that game. The payoff pitch. Watson drills that one foul. Watson was the man for the Pilots last game, reached base in all 4 of his plate appearances, 2 stolen bases, 3 singles, 1 base on balls. So great job by the Pilots leadoff hitter. And he walks here. The Miners are yet to retire Kyle Watson in 5 plate appearances tonight in Anchorage.
Yeah, Watson had 3 singles in the first game and also reached base via a walk in the first game. So he was a perfect 3 for 3 on base 4 times. I believe he had a couple of stolen bases too, if I'm not mistaken. And, obviously he's a very dangerous base runner, as you would expect that being the leadoff man for this team.
So this is Deshaun Kersey Jr. He did not play in Game 1. For the Miners, in the outfield from left to right, it's Nickens, Stotler, and Schwartz. Around the infield from first to third, it's Scudder, Jordan, Bissonette, and Armenta, the battery of Wyatt and Cosgrove.
Deshaun Kersey Jr. was showing bunt, and he is right now, so perhaps they're going to try to sacrifice him over.
That one bunted, but it's going to go foul for strike 1 on Kersey Jr. They tried here and there to play some small ball in Game 1. They had a hard time bringing in any runs. They did score 1 run. It was a home run off the bat of Joe Gillette. Other than that, couldn't plate anybody else. Connor Higgins was moving and grooving in that game. We'll see what Wyatt could do here. If he could go 5-6 strong, then depending on what the outcome is, your pitching is still in decent shape, especially that bullpen.
Yeah, and that's obviously key. A few games ago, this was a bullpen that was taxed. A lot of people were unable to pitch out of the bullpen. But just last game, they were able to use Jordan Floyd, who was unavailable the day before. And so basically it was a day of rest for the entire bullpen except for Jordan Floyd coming out of the bullpen. So this is a bullpen that's well rested. Would not be surprised to see him come into this game.
Wyatt's 0-1 is foul back, so now 0-2 the count on Kersey Jr.
And I doubt Tyler Wyatt's going to have, as many pitches as Higgins did. Connor Higgins is, this is kind of a spot start for Tyler Wyatt. He's mainly a bullpen guy for this team, so I highly doubt we see him go 100 pitches, just like his counterpart earlier today, or his teammate Higgins did in Game 1.
That one doesn't catch the plate, so 1-2 the count on Kersey Jr. But if Wyatt could go 3 or 4, that does eat up the innings and couldn't ask for much more. It is a spot start for him, but he does have 2 other starts on the year.
And it certainly helps that it's a 7-inning game rather than a 9-inning game too. But you do have to go 5 innings to officially get the win in 7 innings. But still, I don't think he's really worried about the win being next to his name as long as the team wins as a whole.
His very first start was the season opener against the Oilers. He picked up the loss in that affair. Miners losing 1-0. This one is singled right past Jake Scudder over at first base, and it's going to put runners on the corners now as Watson moved on into third base. With nobody out here in the first inning, trouble of brewing. And he's going to bring up the right fielder, Joe Gillette. I mentioned a little while ago, he homered in the first game. So he is dangerous.
During that last at-bat, Kyle Watson was off on the pitch, and because he was off and running, he was able to get to third base. So the Pilots are going to have runners at first and third here to begin the bottom half of the first inning.
Wyatt's first pitch to Gillette, low for ball 1.
And they struggled trying to score runs last game when they had runners in scoring position. They had nine left on base last game in only 7 innings.
So Wyatt from the set. This one in the air to center field. Should get the job done. Stotler's there. Makes the grab. Both runners trying to advance. That will be Watson reaching home. Kersey Jr. put on the brakes and retrieved back to first base. So he'll stay there, but Watson does score on the sac fly RBI by Joe Gillette. So Joe Gillette's still the only one with any RBIs for the Pilots tonight. If you want to track back to game 1, he showed that he can definitely hit the ball deep enough, considering he homered in game 1 and gave that one a nice little ride to center field and deep enough to surely get the job done. Would have scored just about probably any runner on this Pilots team.
It was a close pickoff attempt by Tyler Wyatt over at first base. Almost caught Kersey Jr. leaning.
And now that ball thrown away.
He had him leaning, too. He just threw a really bad pitch or a bad throw over to first base. So he's able to advance from first to third on that.
And even more trouble here now, as Kersey Jr. moved on into third base and still nobody out. So 1-0 the count here to Tyler Walters, the designated hitter. Jordan, you mentioned it before he reached third base. They had him picked off. He was leaning. But the bad throw by Tyler Wyatt credited him with an E1. And Kersey Jr. standing at third base now instead of back in the dugout with one out.
Yeah, this definitely hurts the Miners. Gillette last at bat was able to score the first run of the game. But now they have another runner in scoring position, this time on third base. So another run could score on a base hit or a sac fly if it's hit deep enough in the outfield.
That was the case with the last batter, being Joe Gillette. Wyatt from the set delivers his own, popped up in the infield. It's not going to score anyone. Levi Jordan, the second baseman, is under it, makes the grab, and 2 outs now in the inning. So that was huge there. Is now no longer available. It's not an option for the Pilots anymore, as there are now 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. Still just that 1 run across the plate. It was the leadoff walk to Kyle Watson that led things off here, that resulted in that run, because he was able to reach third base on the single, and Gillette brought him out with the sac fly. First pitch to the first baseman Sanders here, taken for a ball. Here's the 1-0. And it's going to be fouled off right side. And all things considered, the leadoff walk, the single, throwing error, if you could still only limit the Pilots to 1 run, you could definitely live with that. Looked like there might have had a chance for a lot more damage, but so far, so good. The Pilots not capitalizing. That pitch low and in the dirt, ball 2. Sure, though. You mentioned that Wyatt might not be able to throw as many pitches as Higgins did. I agree with you. He's here already in the first inning. If the inning lasts long enough, we'll tell you exactly how many pitches that is steadily on the move right now to figure that all out.
It was the 21st pitch.
So definitely not a quick one here for Wyatt. About to deliver pitch number 22 to the plate. Hopefully that's all he needs for the first.
He's been all over the place. He's thrown 11 strikes and 10 balls. So 50%.
50% exactly as that one misses low. almost caught the knees, but instead it's a full count here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Pilots leading at 1-0 here in the bottom of the first inning. This one slightly grounded over to Jordan at second base. On to Scudder to end the first inning. However, the leadoff walk, Kyle Watson, comes around to score via the sac fly of Joe Gillette. And the Pilots do lead it by a score of 1-0 heading into the second inning on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Angelo Armenta, the third baseman for the Miners, leading it off here in the top of the second inning. The first place Miners trailing the Pilots by a score of 1-0 early on. Pitch to Armenta, catches the outside part of the plate for strike 1. Armenta did not play in game 1. So this being his first at-bat of the night. And he takes that check swing, please.
You know, in the last game, Angelo Armenta struck out 4 consecutive times. But in his 5th at-bat, he was able to bring home the winning run on a sac fly to beat the Oilers on a walk-off fashion.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Laced towards second base. Diving down for it, and now heading it on over to first base to Sanders. Making the out was Eichhoff. So a good play by the second baseman there to get the first out of the inning, and that is going to bring up Scooter Bynum, outfielder for the Miners, who has the DH duties in Game 2. He digs into the batter's box now and awaits pitch 1 from Lungwitz. Here it is. Swing and a miss, strike 1. The Miners with quite a few outfielders, so whenever they want to play, the majority of them has to be the designated hitter. Typically, it'll be Michael Donadio. This go-around is going to be Scooter Bynum.
Josh Roulette also DH as well.
That's right. The catcher / designated hitter, it seems like the majority of his duties are going to be at DH now, seeing as the Miners have acquired both Anthony Cosgrove and Zach. I knew I said that one. And Zach Sharpley. I was like, wait a minute, that's my middle name.
Anthony?
Yes. Actually, it's Alan Anthony, but.
Daniel Allen Anthony. Please tell me it's hyphenated.
No. Anthony is actually my confirmation name.
Ah, okay.
Roman Catholic stuff. There's that one outside to Scooter. And so now with one out, nobody on here for the Miners who are wearing the camouflage jerseys again. Talked a little bit with head coach Ben Taylor and Taylor's take this afternoon about those jerseys as Bynum goes down swinging. We haven't seen the minor greens in a while. He said that it's not necessarily a superstitious thing, even though they went 0-2 wearing those jerseys. First road trip opener, season opening series against the Oilers. But he said they might make their way around sooner or later. This one left in the center field off the bat of Cosgrove. And that is going to be out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down here for the Miners. We will now head on down. Miners still trailing it by a score of 1-0 on your Matu-Su Miners radio network. Naily leading things off here in the bottom of the second inning for the Anchorage Pilots. They lead it by a score of 1-0 over the Matu-Su Miners. Miners did take the matinee of this doubleheader. Jordan, it's the first time we get to experience a doubleheader down here. It's quite the experience, I will say. 7-inning baseball games, though, they shorten them down a little bit.
And we're going to be expecting another one on Saturday or Sunday.
Another road doubleheader, that is.
I think it's Saturday. The first 2 games of the series against the Oilers. We're definitely going to be getting used to these doubleheaders because we still have a few more later this month.
That we do, so this won't be the first one. There's about 2 more left, depending on the way the rest of the season pans out as far as postponed games go and whatnot, and that doesn't include the Scouts Showcase next weekend. That pitch outside, and the count now full on Eichhoff, the second baseman, who made a good play at second base.
And what a weekend it will be. Not only is it the Scouts Showcase, but it's also the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game.
It's going to be a long weekend, but one filled with lots of fun activities. Can't go wrong with an All-Star Game or a Home Run Derby. We'll keep you posted on which Miners make that All-Star roster once we receive any kind of word. The payoff pitch outside, and now a leadoff walk. There was a leadoff walk last inning, and, well, it didn't end well. He ended up crossing home, that being Kyle Watson, scoring the first and only run of this ball game. And now at the plate, it's the third baseman, RJ Cordero. So he now digs into the batter's box. And the first pitch to him catches the plate for strike 1. RJ Cordero did not play in the first game. That's the case for a lot of these players on both teams. Basically has to be the case when you're playing a doubleheader. Wyatt from the set fouled off. So the count now 0-2 on Cordero. Tyler Green, the catcher, on deck. Oilers turn at the Pilots 10-12 on the season now following that loss earlier today. And Wyatt is going to throw it over to first, but back in, sliding in safely is Eichhoff. Unsuccessful on that pickoff attempt. Wyatt getting the signs. Delivers all one. Can you only imagine how some of these players are going to be feeling after the game? Guys like Bissonnette, Jordan, Scudder over at first base. Can imagine quite tired. And that one fouled off the mask of Cosgrove.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be a little bit tired, but, they had an off day yesterday. So at the same time, I don't think it's going to necessarily affect them. And it also helps that they're 2 7-inning games instead of 2 9-inning games. That's 14 innings compared to 18 innings. That they four innings do make a difference when it comes to wear and tear on the body.
Absolutely. And the 1-2 once again fouled off by Cordero. So he's staying alive up there at the plate. Cordero on the season is batting .226, has 1 RBI, and has walked 4 times. Wyatt delivers high, 2-2. Gray sky still down here in Anchorage. Game 1 was postponed roughly a half hour. And here we are now in Game 2 as a throw to first base once again. Sliding in safely was Eichhoff. If you look on your iPhone apps, it'll say that it's currently some showers in Anchorage. That's not the case here at Mulcahy Stadium, though. As this one chopped over to Jordan. He's going to try to apply the tag to Eichhoff, and yes, he did. So would you look at that? Rack him up. 4-6-3 double play. Good job there by Levi Jordan, making sure he can apply the tag on Eichhoff. Eichhoff trying to be slick enough to avoid it, but he couldn't. And Wyatt gets the pitcher's best friend, the double play. And that brings up Tyler Green, the left-handed hitting catcher, to the plate.
It's actually just a 4-3 double play as he was able to touch the runner.
What am I thinking? It's been a long day here for me.
Sure has. Taylor taken the morning, and we weren't sure if we were going to get Game 1 or Game 2 in for that matter.
Yeah, I was about ready to take a nap back over at Herman Brothers Field, which is where we were for the Taylor's Take Week 3 edition. Edited it and posted it on the YouTube channel. Then we were waiting around. We almost felt as if we weren't going to make our way down here to Anchorage. There's a very nice comfy couch in the press box that I was laying down on, thinking probably take a nice nap, wake up, and be told that there won't be no games. Instead, we were told to pack, and pack we did and made our way down here to Mulcahy Stadium.
And then we had trouble connecting to the internet and every other thing. So basically, it was a very long day. Everything that went wrong kind of did.
This one shot right toward Jordan at second base, but once again, he makes a nice play, and it's going to end the inning. So we'll now head on to the top of the third inning. It's Nick and Statler and Jordan due up for the Matu-Su Miners on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Madison Nickens is going to lead things off here for the Matu-Su Miners at the top of the third inning. Down at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, they currently trail Game 2 of the doubleheader by a score of 1-0. Were victorious in the matinee by a score of 5-1. We've been down in Anchorage many times already within the past week and a half. In case you don't remember, the 4 games in a row and 5 out of 6 games that the Miners had against the Anchorage Bucks before finally having that home game against the Oilers on Monday, the 4th of July. And boy, could definitely set off some fireworks after that victory. Brooks Stotler scoring a game-winning run via the sac fly off the bat of Angelo Arment inning of that ball game. And here we are back in Anchorage once again. This time for a doubleheader against the Pilots. And Madison Nickens goes down swinging to start things off here in top of the third inning. Going to bring up Brooks Stotler, who had a bunt single back in the first inning. Brooks Stotler's special, and if you're watching it now at home, pay attention. I want to doubt if he squares the button here in the first pitch. Let's see if he does. Nope, outside. Catches that part of the plate, though, for strike 1. The 0-1 to Stotler. Good take from him. Count moves to 1-1. Squares to bunt. There it is. So you knew you were going to see it one time in this sequence. He waited to the third pitch, brought it back.
You know, I mentioned to him in between games, I'm like, hey, good job with that bunt. Back in the first game, he was like, yeah, that won't be the last time to see it today.
No, it was not. And this one looked like Kersey Jr. had a bad first read on it, but nonetheless is able to still come up with it. Had a good second. And 2 up, 2 down here for the Miners. And that is the 6th batter retired by Lungwitz. See if Levi Jordan can break that up here before the inning's over. The pitch swung on right back to Lungwitz at first base. He'll draw over to first. So the second 1-2-3 inning in a row for the right-handed hurler, and that will send us down to the bottom of the third inning. Miners trail it by a score of 1-0 here on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. So here we are, bottom of the third inning. Miners trailing this one by a score of 1-0. And it is the left fielder, Dalton Hurd, making his first plate appearance in this game. Dalton digging into the right-handed hitter's batter's box. Wyatt's delivery catches the inside part of the plate. The count now moves to 0-2 on Hurd. Hurd stepping. Gets the signs, and now he will deliver. Outside 1-2. One hit apiece for both teams. And this one lifted high in the air to left field. Higgins takes a few steps, looks up, and it is foul. It had the distance, but it had the wrong shape.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a mistake pitch by Tyler White. This could have been a 2-run game, but Dalton
Hurd.
It's Hurd, yeah. Dalton Hurd was a little bit in front of that one.
Yeah, he absolutely drilled it out toward the left. And here's the 1-2 pitch to him. Swung on foul. It's 325 here at Mulcahy Stadium to left field. 410 straight center. And 325 to right. So that definitely could have been some bad news here. And it looks like he's getting some instructions from the dugout pilots down there. Looked like it was Hurd talking with Watson a little bit before he headed on back to the batter's box. So taking after he fouled that one off, he's taking all the time in the world.
Oh,
wow. Back right our direction. Wow. I thought that was going to come right through this window.
You were wondering if it was break proof.
It hit the glass right in front of my face.
Did.
Literally. My heart's still pounding a little bit. How many times are we going to go through that? Whew. This one, I probably could have caught it. Yeah, I could have reached out and grabbed it.
Wouldn't have been easy.
No, it would not have. I wouldn't. No, actually, it would just
Probably
blistered my
finger.
fingers. Yeah, it would have broken my fingers. Is exactly what it would have done. They would have been legitimately broken. Can you imagine if the glass broke?
We would end the broadcast right away.
Probably. The 2-2 hopped up towards second, hit softly. That's Jordan there, who's going to make the catch for out number 2.
Because we wouldn't be safe.
No, yeah, that would end the broadcast.
We'd at least move it somewhere or try.
We would definitely not end the broadcast, actually. What we would do
Just leave it on and leave.
we would actually have to go into the media manager room where Josh Grissom currently is, our media manager, and have to do the broadcast from there. It's not the best of angles, but you got to do what you got to do, and that's what's had to been done. But after all is said and done, the first out made in the inning, it's going to be on Kyle Watson. He is yet to make an out. And this one is popped towards Scudder and foul territory. So there you go. There you go. Asking you shall receive the first out in 6 plate appearances today to include game 1 for Kyle Watson.
That is a big out for the Miners, believe it or not, because he's such a tough out. He was on base 5 times in game 1, and then he led off the game with a full count to take ball 4. But this is the first time he's officially been retired today.
Well, I'm convinced these windows are strong. You see me pushing on them now, and I probably should stop because you see the windows shaking on the broadcast. There it goes. So now Jordan wants to put his hand on it. I didn't think that a ball would not go through, but it did.
I don't know.
We're still safe. I'm shocked.
You have to think here because you have to imagine how much baseball is played here and a ball gets fouled back here.
Quite a few times, I bet.
So unless they decide to constantly change out the glass, which I highly doubt that's the case.
I'm still just a little surprised that there's no netting.
Below us, just not.
Well, no, but not right here, right? But not like.
Well, we're higher than everybody here. Obviously.
That's legal in the state of Alaska.
That's not what I meant.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kiersey Jr. goes down swinging.
Can't believe
We're just high on life, and now we're going to go on to the top of the fourth inning. This game is just flying by, and we're only scheduled for 7. Miners trailing it by a score of 1-0 here on Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Garrison Schwartz leading things off here for the Miners. Since the first pitch ball. Connor Higgins giving us the scouting report on Lungwoods, telling us he throws around 82 to 84. So we thank Higgins for the scouting report.
Connor Higgins, of course, was the starting pitcher last game. His second consecutive complete game for the ball club. It was his longest outing of the year of one-run baseball.
Schwartz swings through that one for strike one in this AB. Here's the 2-1 to Schwartz. Outside Schwartz. Base hit, ball 4. What's it going to be? Either one will work, as it will produce the leadoff man to get aboard. And the 3-1 pitch. Swung out, is going to get through though. So Schwartz is going to opt to go with the base hit. And the leadoff man aboard. It is the second hit of the game for the Miners. Here's the first batter. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. Almost looked as if he got out of the way of it, but it might have hit him just on the sleeve of the jersey.
The leadoff man has 4 times today. And that includes game 1, obviously, as a doubleheader. As Miners were able to win that game.
Scudder's going to take that one down first base in his sphere. Garrison is moving the green light, so kicking it into high gear now is Schwartz, and he will reach home safely. 1-1 the score here now at Mulcahy Stadium off of that RBI double by Jake Scudder. Attaboy, Scud. And that's exactly what you want to see here in this short game. We're here in the 4th inning. We're only going 7 in game 2 of this doubleheader. Likewise in game 1. So you don't want to be trailing for a long amount of time. You want to tie this game up and hopefully take the lead as quick as you can. Get on into the 7th inning as fast as possible, and then end this ball game with a double.
Was that ball juggled out in the outfield? Like, because I'm surprised the runner was ending up scoring on that.
And missing that on the first pitch is going to ground out to first base, but it works just as well as a sac bunt would have because Scudder moved on into 3rd.
Yeah, with the view I have right now, I'm like, I can't see the right fielder and on. So I don't know. It just seemed a little bit strange that the runner from first was able to come around to score.
No, we reached all the way toward the end there where that 325 sign is. Almost by the Taylor Craft Heritage Coffee, kind of ricocheted around the wall by the time Gillette got. Definitely not really much of a juggle. He had a hard time getting to it, though, because it was hit all the way to the line. And giving it a go, and he ends up going all the way from first to home. He does possess a lot of speed.
Well, it was crucial because it was the tying run for the ball game, and right now the Miners have an opportunity to take the lead here if Armenta can get it out of the infield.
And speaking of opportunities, we'll tell you about a kick butt opportunity in terms of getting your kids to a good dentist, because Dr. Tishri is a beautiful, brand new state-of-the-art, friendly and convenient polymer, especially designed for children. Your child's comfort and safety is their top priority. Check them out online at Matu-Su.com or call 745-KIDS. That's 745-5437. Armenta's last sac fly was a beauty. That came in the last game on 4th of July. It was the game-winning sac fly, scoring Brooks Stotler. So we'll take a little bit more of the same. Who knows? For all you know, especially with the way the pitching has been in the Alaska Baseball League, a sac fly here could potentially be a game winner. So come on, Armenta.
Really possible.
Here's the pitch. And Angelo's going to serve this into left field. Backtracking as he makes the catch. And here comes Scudder. Come on, Scud, man. He will get there safely. Yes. So the sac fly off the bat of Armenta, and it is a 2-1 Miners lead.
That ball was hit just deep enough and in time was Scudder sliding in safely, but it was a pretty good throw by the left fielder Hurd.
And that's going to bring up Scooter Bynum now, the designated hitter, with nobody on base. First pitch to him. Scooter shows bunt, brings it back, strike one. And the Miners spend their mornings lifting, running, and staying in shape by visiting the Alaska Club. Visit them in Anchorage, Eagle River, Fairbanks, Juneau, and the Matu Valley, or online at www.thealaskaclub.com. Joining into the broadcast, we do welcome you. Thanks for joining us. It is a 2-1 Miners lead here in the top of the 4th inning. If you weren't tuning into the last broadcast, Game 1, which was just a couple hours ago, concluded roughly at about 7:35. The Miners were victorious in that one by a score of 5-1. So good news in Miner land. Here's the 0-2 to Bynum. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Hit the dirt, so he's going to run on over to first. But the out is going to be made there. Good throw from Green to Sanders, and that's going to end the inning. But not before the Miners could put up a 2-spot here. And now we are halfway home, leading it by a score of 2-1 on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. So Here we are, fourth inning. Miners currently leading the Pilots by a score of 2 here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. It'll be Gillette, Walters, and Sanders due up for the Pilots. Tyler White still towing the slab for the Miners here, as he received the spot start in Game 2 of this doubleheader. Nothing better than 2 games. Here's the 1-0. Inside, ball 2. So far the Miners, through a game and a half, their starting pitchers have won 10-plus innings. Relievers didn't need them yet. So a reliever yet to enter the ballgame for the Miners, and that's good news. 3-0 count now on Gillette. Here it is. And that's going to catch the inside part of the plate for strike 1. 3-1 now on Gillette, and you want to be careful here. One of the better hitters for the Pilots, and he does possess some pop in that bat. He comes into this contest, or he came in rather earlier today. His stat line showed 262 on the average. Yeah, no home runs, 6 RBIs, but did crank out his first home run in the first game. No. Yes, he did. So he strikes out swinging here. He also now has 8 RBIs on the season, but won't have a chance to pick one up, at least for the time being, because he strikes out, and up comes the designated hitter, Tyler Walters.
It's back-to-back strikeouts for Tyler Wyatt. And this is only 2 strikeouts of the game, too.
The pitch from Wyatt, low for ball 1.
And you mentioned how we have not used the bullpen arm yet. And, obviously, that's due in part because of the good pitching. Connor Higgins with a great first game, complete game, only giving up 1 run.
This pitch popped up in foul territory. Is there going to be enough room? The answer for you is no. It's just going to be a souvenir for whoever there is here at Mulcahy Stadium. There was not many fans, unless you noticed them, Jordan, but to my knowledge, there were not many fans. Game 2 seems to be the same down here in Anchorage. I bet you, even with the weather, if we had Herman Brothers, have yourself a kickball crowd.
1 game gets you 2. Price of admission.
So it would have been a good bet to come on down to the ballpark. However, a lot of people of Anchorage, Alaska, opting not to. We came, and so far so good for us. 1-2 pitch, lifted toward right center. Stotler's there now. It's Schwartz in right making the catch for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th. And now it's Nate Eichhoff who walked back in the 2nd inning. Check that, it's number 30, Tanner Sanders. Getting a little bit ahead of myself here. The first baseman. Sanders grounded out to Levi Jordan at second base, and that actually ended the 1st inning. Is that first pitch to him taken for a ball. A little bit of a gap in left center field, and it looks like the rain starting to come down a little harder here as this one slapped through the hole between 3rd and short. Nickens is there in left field to retrieve it and get it on back into the infield, but that will be a 2-out single from Sanders. And now it's Nate Eichhoff, the second baseman, who walked back in the 2nd inning, approaching the plate.
Number 4, Nate Eichhoff.
And the Miners do have some kind of bullpen activity going out there.
Yeah, they on and off all day have been playing a little bit of long toss, it seems like. Hard to tell exactly what's going on because there's that big Pepsi bullpen advertising sign hanging out there.
It's weird. They take it down every now and then, but then it's right back up the next time.
So very interesting. It seems like it's only up on when we're facing the Pilots at Mulcahy, but it's a Bucks sign. It's a Bucks Pepsi promotion.
Yeah, It was against the Bucks our first time here where that Pepsi sign was there, and then I think the next 3 or 4 games it wasn't there, and then we just started witnessing that today.
This one slapped right past a diving Levi Jordan. So now back-to-back singles here with 2 outs. And a little 2-out rally going here now for the Pilots, who just surrendered the lead in the top half of this frame, and it's going to bring up the third baseman, R.J. Cordero, who grounded into a 4-3 double play back in the second inning. That was a huge 4-3 double play, considering the leadoff man at that time, which was Nate Eichhoff, reached on a leadoff walk, so that killed any little bit of a threat early on. See if we could get him the second time around. It would end another little threat. But first, Matt Greeley has to have a conversation with Tyler White and Andy Cosgrove as he makes his way out to the mound. The second-year Matu-Su Miners pitching coach. Ben Taylor is the skipper for this club in his 4th year in that position, and they are assisted by first-year assistant coach Joe Perez. Perhaps Greeley giving the bullpen a little bit more time to start getting things loose there. It looks like double barrel action, so they do have options if they need it. You would like to see White get out of the 4th, though, because then that would only be 3 more scheduled innings, and obviously that equals less relief arms that you have to use up. But anyways, Greeley's back in the dugout. Cosgrove is back behind the dish, and Cordero is back at the plate. And here's the pitch to him. Outside, ball 1. Eichhoff at first, Sanders at second. And now they're going to try to pick him off over at second base. Bessanek got there in good time, but sliding back in safely with Sanders. So we now await the 1-0 pitch. There it is. Low for ball 2. So Cordero himself now into a hitter's count. Wyatt just has to make sure he doesn't leave a cookie right over the heart of the plate. Still have to pitch him well here. And the 2-0 from Wyatt, high, ball 3. So 1 pitch away from loading the bases with 2 outs. It's the catcher Tyler Green on deck, left fielder Dalton Hurd in the hole. Wonder if Cordero has the green light here. We'll see. Does he take all the way? He does, and it is going to be 4. So that will load him up here in the bottom of the 4th inning with 2 outs for the Pilots, who currently trail it 2-1. And now Jacob Huey is making his way back from the bullpen, perhaps going to relay a message to the coaching staff, letting them know the status of the arms in the bullpen. We'll see exactly what they opt to do. And here comes the skipper, Ben Taylor. So, move will be made as he heads on up down there to the mound. Who is coming exactly, we do not know yet, but we will know as soon as we come back from this break here on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. So the new pitcher is Mick Vorhoff coming in the game for the Matu-Su Miners with the bases loaded and 2 outs here with the catcher Tyler Green up at the plate. The Miners leading it by a score of 2-1. First pitch to Green catches the outside part of the plate for a strike. This is Vorhoff's 6th appearance. He is 0-1 on the year with a 1.74 ERA. Has allowed 5 hits and struck out 8. It's a ground ball over to Bissonnette at short, who's going to throw it out over to first. So there you have it. They'll end the inning and close the book on Tyler Wyatt, who went 3 2/3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run was earned, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts.
And you see Wyatt high-fiving Vorhoff, the guy who replaced him, for getting out of that jam.
Yes, the jam it was, obviously, with the bases loaded. So now we head to the top of the 5th. Cosgrove, Nickens, and Statler duo for the Miners here on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Leading things off here for the Miners in the top of the 5th inning, it'll be catcher Andy Cosgrove, who flew out to center field in his first at-bat back in the 2nd inning. Takes first pitch ball here in the 5th. Just joining in the broadcast, we welcome you. Miners leading it by a score of 2-1 here in the 5th inning. It is game 2 of a doubleheader. They were victorious 5-1 in game 1. That, because it's a doubleheader, went 7 innings. This game is well scheduled for 7 innings. So if the Miners can hold off here, they will sweep the doubleheader against the Pilots. That pitch taken once again by Cosgrove, but this time called strike, so the count now 2-1 on him. And now time called by Andy Cosgrove. Wants to step out of the box really quick and collect his thoughts. He now steps back in. And the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Now with outdoor seating, you can enjoy refreshing drink and good friends outdoors in the Alaska sunshine. Located in downtown Palmer, the Palmer Bar is a great place to grab a bite to eat and take in the sights. That one swung to short, vacuumed up and over to first. Watson goes to Sanders for out number 1 here in the 5th inning. That'll bring up Madison Nickens, who struck out back in the 3rd inning. Madison Nickens out of Maryland in the Big Ten, along with his teammate A.J. Lee, who usually plays 3rd base for the Miners. And I must say, it seems to me, and I'm definitely guessing on this one, but as here's the pitch to Nickens, shows bump, brings it back. I don't know if his mother is Gwen Nickens, but he does say his folks do watch into the broadcast whenever they can, and it is Gwen Nickens who is typically active on Twitter with us, as this one popped up Will it stay in here? The answer looks like it's going to be yes. That is the catcher Green under it makes the grab for out number 2. And if that is Mama Nickens, we thank you for tuning into the broadcast on a regular enough basis whenever you can. And any of the parents, for that matter, sure they are extremely proud of their boys who are currently in first place for the minors. I believe I could say they're definitely battling their butts off down here in the valley. Jordan, the two of us see them quite often. Almost on an everyday basis, obviously, around the ballpark. Nothing but putting in work. And now, Jordan, you're showing me a Skylar Nickens, who perhaps is also in relation to Madison Nickens. So you know what? Shout out to the whole Nickens family.
That's right. Why not?
Well, I gotta say, Nickens is one of the nicer lads, too, on this ball club. Always asking us how we're doing and chatting things up with us for a little bit from time to time.
Yeah, he's one of the most talkative. Him, along with Garrison Schwartz is up there.
Also one of the most goofy, that being Nickens. He is a goofy one, that man. But we enjoy it. Nothing like a little humor in and around the clubhouse.
No, I think every clubhouse kind of needs somebody like that.
I reckon he was probably the class clown growing up. As Stotler chops this one over to second base. But Eichhoff's there to suck on up and toss it over to Sanders to end the inning. So 3 up, 3 down here for the Miners, and we will now head to the bottom of the 5th inning. They still lead it by a score of 2-1 over the Pilots here on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Here we are in the bottom of the 5th inning. Miners leading the Pilots by a score of 2-1 here. They just wrapped up the 5th inning stretch. Because only 7 innings are scheduled. You got to have a stretch time in there somewhere. Did you not stand up and stretch, Jordan? That would have been your time. Now you got to sit down the rest of the game. You can't stand up.
I've been standing up the first 3 innings. I decided to take a squat for at least the time being.
This one foul back. The count now moves to 1-2. I tell you, Vorhoff came up in that last inning, and strike 3, going down swinging to lead these off. Here's Dalton Hurd. Second straight out that Vorhoff has produced. He came in last inning with the bases loaded. Tyler Green at the plate, and he was able to get him to ground out to short to end that inning. So you come in with the bases loaded and get the job done, and then he strikes out the first batter he sees here in the 5th inning, And now it is a tough out here at the plate. It's the shortstop and leadoff man for the Pilots, Kyle Watson. He led off the ball game in the first inning with a walk and scored the very first run. And then finally flew out in foul territory to Jake Scudder at first base for making the first out tonight, including games 1 and 2 combined. And the count now 1-1 on him now with 1 out. Vorhoff winds, fires it, swing and a miss, strike 2. One and 2 the count here now with 1 out. Once again, camouflage jerseys for the Miners. Blue jerseys, white sleeves for the Pilots. And here's the pitch. Low and outside, ball 2. Taco night at the Christopher residence after this ball game.
I'm sure it'll be delicious like every other meal that they have there.
After a little bit of taco night, first we have to finish this one just a bit outside.
It's always more fun going over there with the win, though. And, today would be especially special. Winning both games of a doubleheader, then heading on over to the Christophers for a lovely dinner.
And now it is a 1-out walk here. So once again, what do you know? It's Watson who reaches base. Speaking of the Christopher residence, in Game 1, the outfield from left to right was Donadio, Stotler, and Schwartz. Those are the 3 men that the Christophers are housing. So they could have looked out to the outfield and said, that's my boy, that's my boy. Kind of neat.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I actually did not think of it that way. Because I kind of forgot Donadio lived there. Like I knew Stotler and Schwartz did. In fact, they hang.
Saw him at Qdoba the other day getting a nice burrito. Actually, Schwartz showed me what the move was. It's the burrito with the tortilla on the side, because that way you get more meat and ingredients with the bowl. And off goes the runner, and he is going to get into second base safely. So you can credit Kyle Watson with, guess what? A stolen base.
Was that of the day? His first of the game.
First of this game. He had 2 last game when he reached base safely in every single one of his at-bats. He does so 2 out of 3 times here in Game 2 so far. Guy's becoming a little pest. Kyle Watson, the shortstop, is. Here's the 1-0 to Kersey Jr. Lifted toward left field. That's Madison Nickens out there. He'll make the catch. And that is the second out of the inning. No activity in the Miners' pen. So they're trusting Vorhoff to get through this one. Don't know if they'll give him another inning, but you do imagine that if it stays within a safe situation by the time the 7th inning approaches, you will see Jordan Floyd. He wasn't used in the first game, and especially with the day off yesterday, you can definitely see Big Boy Floyd coming in for a save opportunity. That is if the score holds. The first pitch to Joe Gillette, taken for a strike. Looks like we're going to get both of them in today. At first, we thought we might be postponing this doubleheader, but not going to be the case. We're going to play some baseball.
And, that would have been
drastic.
Yeah, it would have been, especially on the schedule, because we only come here 2 more times, and if that was the case, each time we come here would be a doubleheader. And, especially once we get to the end of the season, that's just a lot of baseball in such a short time frame.
That one low to Gillette, going to move the count to 1-1 now.
Because our last road trip of the season is here to face the Pilots, and that would have been a doubleheader right before the top of the World Series would begin. So, maybe every player isn't necessarily at the energy level that maybe they should have been if we had to continue to play doubleheaders. But we're thankful that we're getting this one in today, even though the weather isn't the greatest, but it could be a lot worse too.
Warhoff with a look over at second. Now the pitch. Catches the inside part of the plate for strike 2. And if your car needs a new taillight or just any sort of nut, bolt, or screw, be sure to visit the Valley's locally auto parts. Lake, Palmer, and Wasilla. Visit www.napaalaska.com. The 1-2 low and away. And some activity down in Miners Bullpen Nation. Figure out exactly who that is. As we keep reminding the viewers, there's that big Pepsi bullpen advertising sign basically blocking the majority of the bullpen. Any jersey numbers, faces, or whatnot. The only thing you can tell if it's a righty or a left-handed pitcher. 2-2 slapped up the middle. It is going to get through and around, and coming in to score is Kyle Watson. And that is going to be the second RBI of the game for Joe Gillette. So basically, it's the Kyle Watson, Joe Gillette story. Games 1 and 2 combined, there have been 3 runs for the Pilots. Joe drove in all those runs. Game 1, he had a home run. In this game, he had a sacrifice fly in the first inning to score Watson. And now he has an RBI single this time around in the 5th inning to score Watson. And what did Watson do in Game 1? Well, if you ask, he went a perfect 3 for 3 with 3 singles, 2 stolen bases, and walked once. So there you have it, folks. The Kyle Watson, Joe Gillette show here tonight in Anchorage at Mulcahy Stadium for the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. But other than that, nobody has really given the Miners pitching staff any much of a fuss. Vorhoff from the set. Runner goes. It was a pitch out count to second, and it finds its way into center field. But luckily, Stotler was running in, playing his position well out there in center, making sure that if it did get into outfield, he was up.
You know, the Miners were throwing a pitch out there, and it's not often that you throw a pitch out and the runner is successfully able to steal a base. But that throw was perhaps a little too much outside, as it looked like Cosgrove was throwing that one. And that one did get into center field, but not far enough away for Wayne's to third.
But if you're Vorhoff right here, you just have to get the batter, and there you go. Swinging and missing is Walter, so the count 1 and 2 here now. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and that's all you can worry about. You get the man here at the plate. Then that runner on at second base, Joe Gillette, it means nothing. And now Vorhoff steps off, wants Cosgrove to go over the signs again. Cosgrove does. Vorhoff agrees with what he saw. And now he's going to throw it back over to second, and they got him. They pick him off. Good job there by Mickey Vorhoff. All right. So he steals the base, but then he's going to get picked off. And, hey, we'll take it. As now we head to the 6th inning. The game is tied up, though, at 2 apiece, as Watson did reach home during that frame. So here we go. It's a brand new ball game, folks, here on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Leading things off here for the Miners. In the top of the 6th inning, game tied up at 2 apiece. So we were only scheduled for 7, but we'll technically go into extras if need be. That only the 58th pitch thrown there by the starting pitcher for the Anchorage Glacier Pilots, Connor Higgins. He's not doing too shabby. Did allow 2 runs back in the last frame, but other than that, doing quite fine there on the bump. The 0-1. Here's the 1-1 to Jordan. Strike. Schwartz on deck, Scudder in the hole. Jordan takes high, 2-2 now to the count. You would love to see the Miners get a run back here. If they do, that'll put them in perfect position to set things up in the bottom of the 6th, and then hopefully get on into a safe situation in the bottom of the 7th. Foul back. It's going to be out of play. The 2-2. Swing on, foul. Jordan popped out to his counterpart, Eichhoff, at second base back in the 1st inning, grounded out in the 3rd. Now he is back up here in the 6th, trying to get on base for the first time tonight. This one popped up in the infield. Eichhoff is going to get him again as he gets under it and makes the catch for out number 1. And that is now going to bring up the right fielder, Garrison Schwartz. Schwartz struck out in the 1st inning, but singled and scored off the double by Jake Scudder, who is currently on deck. Schwartz takes that first pitch foul. There's the 0-1 to Garrison. Low. Looked like it might have hit part of Green. Might have caught him on the thigh. So he's going to have some time to get over that one. Perhaps just rub some dirt on it, although he can't because it's turf here. So he'll rub some turf on it.
Probably not the same kind of effects you would expect. Might be able to.
Here's the 1-1. Swinging and a miss, strike 2.
I'll say you might be able to get turf toe, but not if you rub it on your hands.
Absolutely not, I would imagine. Come on, Garrison, start us off. Did he go? No, he did not. Just joining into the broadcast. Hello there. I'm sure you have your coffee right alongside you, or Red Bull back at home. Most people in the lower 48, it is past midnight for the majority of you. So thanks for staying up late and tuning into this doubleheader. I would like to think it's my voice you like cuddling up to late at night, but it's probably just watching your sons play some baseball.
It's probably just my voice, honestly.
Either way, it's a win-win, and this one through the hole. So Garrison Schwartz with his 2nd hit tonight, another single. And that gets things going here with 1 out in the 6th inning. And now Jake Scudder moves on up to the plate. What did he do last inning? Or his last plate appearance, rather. Back in the 4th, well, he doubled and scored Garrison Schwartz, and then scored himself via the sac fly by Armando. Come on, Scud man. Maybe another double here will be perfect. There goes Schwartz. He loves to take off in this one. Going to be thrown into center field, and Garrison didn't pick it up in time. Would have had a chance to move on into third, but it wasn't worth the risk, especially by the time he picked it up. But credit Garrison Schwartz with another stolen base.
I thought that might have hit him in the face when he was sliding into second base, but I'm glad that's not the case, as he seems to be okay, and it probably didn't even hit him. But, he didn't know where the ball was. He picked up the ball a little bit later, like you mentioned, but too late to bowl. The Miners will take a runner in scoring position, though, however.
And he was running right on the first pitch. So if you include game one of the doubleheader, that is a third stolen base by Garrison Schwartz. And to continue to include those stats, we'll combine them. That's 3 hits on the evening for him. Also has that walk back in game one. And so far has 3 runs. Bring in the Schwartz. There's the 2-0 to Scudder. Low into that dirt, I'll call it still, even though it's the turf. And the count now 3-0 now. On Jake Scudder, it's Josh Bissonette on deck and Angelo Armenta, the third baseman, in the hole. Lungwitz. Flavors and Scudder was taking all the way. So 3-1 the count now on the Scud man. Garrison Schwartz with a average lead over there at second base. And here's the 3-1. Catches the outside corner of the plate, strike 2. Palmer is the perfect opportunity. The Palmer Golf Course is located in the heart of Palmer, just about 2 miles from Herman Brothers Field. Call 907-745-4653 for more information. Lungwitz sets, looks over the second, looks over again, pitch, swing into a strike 3 by Jake Scudder. And now it is all up to the shortstop, Josh Bissonette, who popped out to first base in the first inning and then grounded out to first base in the 4th inning. Two the score here at Mulcahy Stadium down in Anchorage. And the delivery to Bissonette sends this one foul back. Every time that ball is fouled back toward our direction now, I just kind of
Freeze up.
no, I move immediately out of the way, practically flinch, as just a couple innings ago, there was a ball foul back that directly, exactly where I'm facing now, hit the glass, and if the glass would have definitely faced, regardless the 0-1 to Bissonette, he chops it on down over to his counterpart, Watson at short, who was going to pump it in and throw it on over to this inning. So Garrison Schwartz reaches second, but he's left there. And we now head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Miners and Pups all night up at 2 Miners Radio Network. Bottom of the sixth inning here. We're tied at 2 runs apiece. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 ear for the Miners. 2 runs, 4 hits, no ears for the Pilots. This one hit towards short and away from the diving Josh Bissonette. So it is going to be a leadoff single here off the bat of designated hitter Tyler Walters. I'm going to bring up the first baseman Tanner Sanders, who grounded out to Levi Jordan at second in the first inning and singled back in the fourth. Mick Vorhoff still on the bump. He came in for relief of his Grand Canyon University teammate Tyler Wyatt back in the fourth inning. And this one, first pitch swinging, and a diving catch made by Garrison Schwartz. He's going to double up at first. No, he won't. But nice play made by the general out there in right field. You go, Schwartzy. And now it is the second baseman, Nate Eichhoff. What a nice little slide play made there by Garrison Schwartz. Almost thought he would have had a chance to double Walters at first base, who was a bit more than halfway to second base until he noticed Garrison Schwartz sliding in. But Schwartz still had to get up to his feet and then rifle it into first to try to double up Sanders at first. Check that Walters at first, so would have been hard to pull off. But the inning double play still intact here now, even with that runner on first. Swing and a miss on that first pitch. 0-1 the count on Eichhoff. Another throw over to first, but Walters is back in there safely. Vorhoff sets and now fires it outside 1-1. One ball, one strike, one out here in the bottom of the sixth inning. One runner on for the Pilots, who are currently tied with the Miners, 2-2. And this one, this is going to be trouble. No, foul. Woo! Yeah, that was very close. It sliced foul at the very last second, thankfully, because if that ball would have landed fair, Walters would have had a pretty good shot at home. Definitely would have made third base easily, and I would have imagined Eichhoff would have made second. So instead of runners in scoring position with one out, it's just Eichhoff at the plate with 2 strikes on him. The pitch to Eichhoff. He swings, and Jordan is going to double him up at first. Yes, he will. Wow, I don't know what Walters was thinking there. I know you're typically a dead duck on a line drive like that, but it was not necessarily rocketed. It was somewhat of a soft hit line drive. No, it sounds like an oxymoron, but to me that's what it was. And you thought that Walters probably would have had a chance to make it back to first, but he doesn't, and that brings us now to the top of the 7th inning here. 2-2 the score on your Matu-Su Miners Radio Network. Leading things off here for the Miners, it's going to be third baseman Angelo Armenta, and a new pitcher on for the Pilots, it's Zach Wolf. So done as Connor Lundwitz, the starting pitcher. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs. They're both earned. No walks, 5 strikeouts, and 1 hit batter. So a pretty good night for the hurler Connor Lundwitz. And because he left with the game tied at 2 apiece, he's not in line for any decision, as the second pitch to Angelo Armenta is going to get away and reach the backstop. So the new man on the mound is another right-handed pitcher for the Pilots. He goes by the name of Zach Wolf. And here's the 2-0 pitch to Armenta. 3-0. So Wolf falling behind to the first batter he sees. This is Wolf's 6th appearance, all of them out of the pen. In his 6 2/3 innings of work this season, he's allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, 3 walks, has a record of 0-1 with a 5.40 ERA. So here's the 3-1 pitch. Drilled towards second base, and what a good diving attempt made there. Wow. Good play by Eichhoff. I could have sworn that ball was going to reach the outfield.
Skeeter Bynum was called back. So it looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter as Michael Donadio is going to be coming up.
So the 4-3 ground out to start things off here at the top of the 7. And you heard it by my partner, is now going to be Michael Donadio pinch hitting for designated hitter Scooter Bynum. Donadio in the first game reached out an error, flew out to left field, and had an RBI single. He sees ball 1. That one inside nearly hits Donadio. Score now 2-2, and a 2-0 count on Donadio. And here's the delivery. Donadio swings, and look at this. It's going to land right in front of Gillette in right field. So the pinch hit single by Donadio. We've seen that before by Donadio. Another time coming here at Mulcahy Stadium against the Bucks, where he had a 2-out RBI pinch hit double to score the game, what would eventually be the game-winning run that game. So good job by Donadio. He represents the go-ahead run here. It's Andy Cosgrove at the plate. The pitch to him, inside, ball 1. Wolf sets. The delivery grounded over towards short. He's only going to have one play, and it's to first, and he throws the ball away. So the runners are now going to move in second and third, and Ben Taylor's waving him around. Here's the throw. Donadio save. Wow. Look at that. So a ground ball. And now they're going to send Donadio back. I'm wondering if that ball was thrown out of play, and because of that, Donadio can only advance the 1 base. Believe that's what's going to be the case. We didn't have a good view of it here, but if you're wondering at home why Donadio is retrieving back to third, I reckon that is what the call must be, as the call can't be anything else but that. So the ball must have went to the stands. Regardless, it is going to be an E6, a very crucial throwing year by Watson, who's been quite solid at shortstop today. But regardless, the E6 will put runners at second and third. And it is now Madison Nickens at the plate. All he has to do is hit it deep enough to the outfield. Donadio has good enough speed. You would imagine that scores him. The count now 1-1 on Nickens. Catches the outside part of the plate, 1-2. Nickens shaking his head, doesn't agree with the call. And then that's my apologies to the folks at home. I said there was some kind of relay throw to the plate, but there wasn't. I thought there was going to be with the way Green was setting up behind the plate. This one chopped, and now they're going to get Donadio in a rundown. Yes, they are. Donadio's in the pickle. He's rushing back to third. Will he get there? Yeah. No, he won't. And now it looks like Madison Nickens, oh boy, he's in a pickle himself. He's going to get it to second. Well, Cosgrove, he's going to be chased all the way back to second base in a double play. So they got Donadio in a rundown, and then they ended up getting Madison Nickens in a rundown. So we went from possibly being ahead in this game, thought Donadio scored, but he was brought back to third base. Daggone it. Because that would have represented possibly the winning run, because we're only scheduled for 7. So if the Pilots want to win, it's going to be in walk-off fashion as we head now to the bottom of the 7th. Mick Warhoff heading back out to the mound for the Miners here on the Matu-Su Miners Radio Network.
Joke.
So here we go now. Bottom of the 7th inning here. Miners and Pilots knotted up at 2 runs apiece. And I'm now pinch hitting for RJ Cordero. It is going to be Duke Kinnaman.
The Miners wasted a very good opportunity to take the lead here in what should have been the top of the 7th.
This one hit. It looks like it's going to get over the head of Stotler in center field. Kinnaman gets to second, rounding for third, and they're not going to have a play on him as he reaches third base. So a leadoff triple. And, folks, that's a potential game-winning run right there, 90 feet away at third base. Oh, boy.
You have to bring the infield in now. There's absolutely no choice. And I think the outfield might be coming in maybe.
I mean, they have to come in enough, the outfield, because if it's hit deep enough for a sac fly, that's going to win it anyways. You got to only play to the amount of distance in the outfield. You think that you could actually throw the runner out at third base. There's really no point of playing normal depth in the outfield. You might as well play a little shallow unless you think, once again, you could throw that runner out in a sac fly situation in normal depth. So pitching, check out a mound visit being made here by pitching coach Matt Greeley. It's going to be broken up now. The boys are going to move on back to their respective positions. And here we go now. Tyler Green making his way up to the plate, and Duke Kinnaman, the possible game-winning run at third base. So here we go. Vorhoff's pitch. Outside, they're going to try to pick him off. So close. Armenta could have sworn he had him. And I really love the idea there by the Miners.
Yeah, I don't know what RJ Cordero was thinking. That's the game-winning run. Nobody out. Why are you off so far? You can't go anywhere anyways.
That was so close. That would have been huge for the Miners. Armenta could have sworn he had him. In back just safely. And the 1-0 from Vorhoff inside. It's Dalton Hurd on deck and Kyle Watson in the hole. So here's the 2-0. Swung out in the air, and this probably will get the job done. Nickens gets it, fires in, and that is not going to get home in time. And in walk-off fashion, the Pilots are victorious here, so they'll take the victory in the nightcap here, splitting the doubleheader between the Miners and the Pilots. 3-2 the victory. And if you want to look on the bright side here, only 3 pitchers used tonight for the Miners. That being the starting pitchers in the game 1 and 2. Game 1 was Higgins. Game 2 was Wyatt. Mick Vorhoff came into relief for Wyatt back in the 4th inning, and that's all she wrote. A couple missed opportunities in game 2 for the Miners. And you can't play coulda, shoulda, woulda in the game of baseball or any game for that matter. The final score here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage: Pilots 3, Miners 2. And Jordan, when you split a doubleheader, you can't get too selfish. You got to take whatever you can get.
Yeah, absolutely right. But, this is a devastating loss because in that top half of the 7th inning, the Miners had a key situation, and they could have potentially taken the lead here. And, obviously that leadoff triple to begin the inning for the Pilots was huge to the keys, was huge to their success as they were able to walk it off in walk-up fashion. So that's now 3 of the last 4 games have ended in walk-off fashion for the Miners, 2 of which they've lost.
Yeah, so we've seen plenty of walk-offs here in the last few games, and that's going to wrap things up here. Final score, once more, at Mulcahy Stadium: the Pilots 3, the Miners 2, and you could credit Mickey V, Mick Vorhoff with the loss, Zach Wolf with the W, and we will wrap up this Matu-Su Miners broadcast that is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts by extending a special thank you to Peter Denise Christopher, and for my broadcast partner Jordan Swick, our media manager Josh Grissom. I'm Dan Collins saying I'll catch you on the flip side here on the Matu-Su Miners Radio Network.